5 days. That is all it took for the ground to shift completely under Jorge Martin. On Sunday in Barcelona, the 2024 world champion shoved his own team manager on live television. By Friday, Aprilia had signed the biggest sponsor in their history, branded for the rider replacing him, not him, and somewhere in between, that replacement crashed hard at turn 1, got up, checked on Johann Zarco, and rode injured to a podium for a team that is throwing him out. 5 days, 1 garage, 2 completely different stories. So what exactly is happening inside Aprilia right now? And why does it suddenly feel like the team is being saved from the wrong direction? This is not about who is the better rider. This is about a manufacturer that spent 6 months fighting to keep Martin, locking in Bagnaia as a contingency, and then watching the universe quietly hand them the contingency as the upgrade. Aprilia did not plan this. They are just no longer fighting it. The strangest part of this 9-day window is not what Martin did, and not what Bagnaia did. It is what Aprilia stopped doing. Start with Sunday. Pecco Bagnaia is having the worst season of his career on a Ducati he cannot ride. He has already been told the factory does not want him for 2027. He shows up in Barcelona with Marc Marquez out injured, the bike under him still uncooperative, and a wrist that is about to be hurt worse. He is caught in the turn 1 pile-up that takes Johann Zarco down. Before checking himself, before walking back to the garage, Bagnaia goes to Zarco. Zarco is lying still, his leg trapped in Bagnaia's rear wheel. Bagnaia stays with him until the medical crew arrive. And that is the moment Aprilia's bosses saw something they have not seen in their own factory rider all year. Then he gets back on a fixed bike and rides anyway, with an injured wrist, for a team that has already publicly moved on from him. He finishes 3rd, 16 points scored for a Ducati garage that, after Le Mans, was at its lowest point of the season. Ask any team principal in this paddock what they want from a factory rider, and the answer is some version of what Bagnaia did that afternoon. The wrong garage was watching. Now, switch sides. Jorge Martin's Sunday looked very different. He came into Barcelona 1 point off the championship lead. By the time the race ended, he had taken his 5th crash of the weekend. A 6th would come at the post-race test on Monday. He had been taken out at turn 4 by his own brand's satellite rider, Raul Fernandez, while running 2nd. He stormed back to the Aprilia garage. He sarcastically clapped. He shoved team manager Paulo Bonora. The clip was airing in every paddock WhatsApp group before Martin had even taken his helmet off. To his credit, Martin apologised on camera the same afternoon. "I pushed him a bit. I was so frustrated about the situation." He said the gesture was unnecessary. He said he was disappointed in himself. It was a real apology, not a managed one. But what happened next was not Martin's fault. And it is the part of this story almost nobody is talking about. Because while Martin was apologising in front of the cameras, his own CEO was answering a very different question and giving a very different kind of answer. And oh yeah, there is one more part of this. After the Fernandez crash, MotoGP.com asked Massimo Rivola, the man running Aprilia, the obvious question: whose fault was it? A factory boss has one job in that moment: defend your factory rider, protect your guy, pin it on the satellite team. Rivola did not do that. I would say more from Raul's side, but both could have done a better job. Listen to that again. Not a defence, a balance sheet. And once you see that balance sheet for what it is, the rest of the week looks completely different. 5 days later, Aprilia announced their title sponsor deal. Monster Energy will become Aprilia's title partner from the Italian Grand Prix, the very next race on the calendar. Aprilia have never had a title sponsor of this scale. In January, Rivola publicly admitted he was disappointed not to have landed one for 2026. The check is in. The brand on the check is the problem. Because Monster Energy is not a neutral logo, Martin is contracted to Red Bull, a direct competitor to Monster. Bezzecchi is already a Monster athlete personally. Bagnaia is one too, and his contract with the brand is the reason the deal extends beyond 2026. The sponsor that finally arrived to fund Aprilia's title push happens to fit the rider Aprilia have, and the one they are about to get. The one rider on the bike right now who does not fit is the one leaving. Aprilia did not punish Martin commercially, the market did it for them. Martin is now reportedly exploring all options, including leaving Red Bull to become a monster rider, described as not feasible, or pausing his Red Bull agreement at economic damage. Think about that for a second. The 2024 world champion is being asked to either break a personal sponsor deal or take a financial hit, just to wear the right logo for the last few months of a contract he is leaving anyway. Nobody asks a former world champion to do that, unless that champion no longer has the leverage of one. People thought this was about Aprilia losing a world champion. It was really about Aprilia discovering they never quite had one. Not the version they signed for, not the version the trophy in his cabinet promised. The Martin who arrived in Noal in 2025 spent 11 broken ribs and a collapsed lung in hospital before he could properly race. The same Martin tried to walk out on Aprilia mid-season last year, signed a private deal with Honda that collapsed when Honda would not finalise without a release, and only stayed because Dorna sided with Aprilia and Honda walked away. The Martin of 2026 won at Le Mans and then crashed 6 times in 4 days at the next round. The Martin of Sunday shoved a team manager on his way back from a race he should have won. None of that is a villain story. It is just the gap between the reputation and the rider. And Aprilia spent 18 months pretending the gap was not there. Now look at next weekend. Mugello, Italian Grand Prix. Monster's debut as title sponsor on a bike that is suddenly the most marketable in the paddock. Bezzecchi leading the championship by 15 points over Martin. Bagnaia, the incoming, riding for a Ducati team that has already chosen its 2027 partner without him. And Martin, the outgoing, in Red Bull leathers on a bike that just turned green. The visual will tell the whole story before the lights go out. Aprilia did not lose Jorge Martin. They were quietly rescued from a problem they were still pretending was an asset. The 2024 title is not erased. The Le Mans win is not erased. But the gap between what Martin's reputation says he is and what this paddock now treats him as is the widest it has ever been. Bagnaia is not the saviour. He is just the rider who happens to fit the shape of everything Aprilia has become in the last 9 days. Sometimes the best move a team makes is the one they did not have the courage to make themselves. So, is this really the moment Aprilia lost their world champion? Or the moment the rest of us realise they never really had him? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.